Okay, so welcome all to this AS9145 online awareness training series. Why we are conducting this training program? We all under lockdown situation. We have to maintain social distancing. To encourage this, to move towards reskilling, upskilling, learning process, Nucleus is decided to launch online training series. So 2 weeks back, we have started with some basic awareness training programs. We started with IATF 16949 awareness and medical devices ISO 13485 awareness. Then we moved to railway quality management system IRIS, ISO TS 22163. Then we did also AS9100. This is what happened a couple of weeks back. And this week we are going to have this session. Today we are going to have AS9145. And day after tomorrow, 16th April, we are going to have it on NatCap introduction training. And 18th April, we are going to have FOD controls. These are the further training we have planned. So these three trainings, today's, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, 18th, it will be on 1.5 hours. There will be a quiz program also end of the session. Right. So this is what all about this session. Even the quiz program, if you got 60%, for the token of appreciation, we are planning to give you a small certificate. So this is what all about this training. So we are from Nucleus Consultant. We are into consulting, training, auditing services. We are mainly focused to sector specific standards like AS9100, IATF. A lot of sector specific standards are there. We are more into that. We have a team of 6 people. We do consultancy for various projects. This is our solution for aerospace defense industry. 9100 we do, 9110 and 9120. And also NatCap accreditation consulting services we do. This is what our portfolio for ASD industry. For automotive industry, we provide services like IATF 16949 and some core tool training programs. Even CQA standards, we provide services. For railways, we do IRIS certifications. In medical devices industry, some other sector specific standard, and general management system. We do quality, environment, health and safety management systems. So this is what about us. So let's move to the subject. So this is Karthi. I am a lead auditor for various management system, including AS9100, IATF 13485, 9K and 14K. So I work with some of the industries for AS9100 quality management system practicing process, like some of the industry which you see in the screen. So this is about me. So what we are going to cover today is a small introduction about what is this AS9145, why this 9145, and what are the requirements in 9145. We are going to focus more on some of the specific requirements. And end of this session, we have small quiz. That's it. If you have any questions, doubts, comments, please use that chat window. There you can type your questions. I can see that. I can respond then and there. If or end of the session, we can have Q&A. So this training doesn't make you a subject matter expert, but this will give you an overview. It will guide you how to approach the standard. In that context, we are designed and delivering this program. So we heard about this type of terminologies. In your industry, we heard about PPAP, FMEA, APQP, process flow chart, control plan, right? We keep on heard about a lot of these type of terms. Correct. Sometime based on your existing industry exposure with automotive industry, for automotive industry it is not new, They do have this. Even for ASD industry also, it is not completely new. We are also using that. But what this is, APQP and PPAP, is it completely new for us, or is it already exist in automotive industry? The same is adopted here. So to answer all these questions, let's start with some basics. We all know this APQP, PPAP is from big three, right? In 1980s, the big three have developed some guidance material. Later, AIAG, Automotive Industry Action Group, they have published this in 94. APQP was released in 94 and PPAP was released in 93. So this is what happened in automotive industry. So typically APQP is a structured method that deploys a necessary quality plan that will assure a product in line with your customer requirement. That's what all about APQP is. Again, PPAP is a method which verifies the supplier production process, the entire supply chain, how their production process has the capability to produce the parts or products at specific rate, at specific quantity, at specific cost. Right? This is what all about. This is predominantly used in automotive industry. But what happened in aviation industry also, the same culture, the need for APQP, PPAP was slowly arising in ASD industry. We all heard about IAQG, right? International Aerospace Quality Group, who makes the quality management system standard for aviation, space, defense industry. So they have launched a small manual, APQP manual, that is part of IAQG made this. So later in 2016, it's become a published harmonized standard. That's what 9145. It was developed by IAQG, published by SAE. So IAQG has nominated a team. The team has developed this particular standard. So now it is a separate standard, AS9145. It's not an auditable standard, again repeating, right? So IAQG, International Aerospace Quality Group, who developed the AS series of standard, so they have clearly recognized that this industry is totally different, right? Aerospace industry is totally different. So they wanted to create their own guidance material. We have to understand while implementing this APQP PPAP, this ASD industry is always works on low volumes and it has long life cycle and a lot of regulatory requirements. Let's go one by one. When you say low volume, can you just tell me what is the maximum quantity lot you have received for an aerospace product? Can anyone just type in the chat window? What is the maximum lot size so far you have received in your organization to manufacture an aerospace product? See, I can see some numbers. Maximum I can see is 500. Let's go one by one. I'll go this topic one by one. First, let's start with the volume. What is the maximum volume so far you have received from your aerospace customer? I'm talking about quantity. Yeah, structured part, yes, correct. You can get thousands there. And talk about a repeated item. It's not a mass production industry, right? Even not like continuous production. That we have to recognize it. That is one thing. The second one is, it's a long life cycle. What is the lifetime of an aircraft? We are going to measure this by flying hours, but if you convert that, can you just tell me what is the lifetime? I think some of the participants' names are very familiar. They have attended my previous trainings, but let's see, some of the names are new. What would be the lifetime if you convert this flying hours into an years? Okay, I will put this question this way. You are going to retain your production record, quality records, design records, right, for some period, right? What is your retention time of those records? What's your customer requirement with respect to retention period of your record? 20 years, 15 years, so not less than 10, 30 years. It's typically very depends on the product, but predominantly we could say, let's say engine parts or flight safety parts. So typically the lifetime we could say 35 years, 30 to 35 years, right? We have to recognize this. Then of course it's highly regulated. There are a lot of regulatory agencies. Every country like FAA, we have in India, we have DGCA, right? So there are a lot of things are involved in this. So just like that, we cannot introduce a new product into an aircraft. So that's why we need a structured approach. So IAQG recognized this. So they have launched a team. This is what the people involved in AS9145 standard development process. I think you heard about this name. Some of maybe your customers or even competitors, or you are maybe representing these companies, right? So this standard 9145 is made by the industry for the industry. Whatever written in the 9145 is a requirement of the industry. We have to respect it. It is not like other management systems, not even not at all a management system, some philosophers or some quality practitioners who wrote the standard. This is wrote by the hardcore industry professionals. So what happened, many studies predicting that the aircraft, the number of aircraft needed, it's going to get doubled. Even Airbus, Boeing have recently released their outlook summary. They have predicted 35,000 new aircraft is needed for next 20 years. But it's not only the number of aircraft which is getting increased. Now the focus is more on safety, even environment, right? Industry is looking for now lower fuel burn, lower noise aircrafts, correct? Even electrical aircrafts. So things are changing around in the ASD industry. After this Boeing 737 MAX issues, even now after this COVID-19 crisis, so the recovery regrowth strategy for ASD industry is completely getting revamped. So the question here is, can aerospace and defense industry meet these demands by using a current product development method? What do you think? Maybe we can do that, but how about the quality, cost of the product? How about on-time delivery? So we need to recognize all these factors. So the changing business environment and volume growth, and keep on the expectation on quality is kept high. So these are the various things we need to consider. So why now slowly people are moving towards this 9145? These are the reasons behind that. So this team has prepared this 9145 and it was released by SAE. So this is a structured methodology. When we say structured, it's an harmonized standard, published standard, which defines a step-by-step methodology to assure the product what you have developed, it is satisfying the requirements. When I say requirements, it is not just customer requirement, including the regulatory requirements, even passenger safety, everything is part of this. So IAQG took this project to develop an APQP and PPAP standard for ASD industry. Okay, here I would like to throw a question. Typically, a new product development or APQP PPAP, who is responsible for this? In any organization, Which process owner owns this activity? Quality, NPD. So the answers are coming up. FAI, NPI. See, one thing we should understood, it is not responsibility of a quality function or engineering function or even NPD or NPI function. It's completely cross-functional team effort. Yes, Mr. Naga, you are correct. Yes, Mr. Bharati Manoharan. CFT effort. So that's what all about we need to interpret while implementing, establishing a process. APQP is a process. The ultimate purpose is we have to minimize the risk of producing non-conforming product. That's it. As simple as that. So it's a proactive mechanism. Whereas PPAP, it's not a process. PPAP is an output of APQP. So we should realize and respect that prevention is always one-time expense, whereas reduction and correction is a long-term journey. So it's very important for us. We have to give a lot of focus, time, attention on APQP. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can make a note. We can have a Q&A session there. We can answer, right? So this 9145 standardizes the requirements for the entire product development process. What is this product development process? Product development process starts from concept to cash, concept to disposal, the entire life cycle. This product development process includes, we call them as PDR, CDR, initial production, FI, whatever you can name them. All are part of this product development process. So 9145 standardizes the product development process by using this APQP and PPAP methodologies. This is what the whole objective, the purpose of this AS 9145. See, for us, these methodologies, these concepts are not completely new. For example, you might have came across these requirements through your customers. How many of your customers are asking FAI? How many of your customers are demanding PPAP? Okay, do you came across any of the Ministry of Defense Industries, HAL, or Indian Defense Organization? Did they ask for PPAP? So far you came across such requirements? We can't say they don't have a mechanism for this. They may ask FAI, but so far they have not asked, but they have their own methodology to do that. So every manufacturer, the primes have their own methodology. So when you do aerospace APQP, don't treat it as a separate function or a separate process. It must be integrated with your product development process. Either you are a design responsible organization or just a contract manufacturer or even a service industry who provide design services. This is what the approach we need to adopt. So the whole purpose of this 9145 is the entire supply chain. That is very critical. Entire supply chain needs to use this so that we can able to eliminate, reduce the organization's unique requirements. Even we can eliminate, reduce the variations within the process. So this is what your customers also started asking 9145, because the ultimate purpose is the entire supply chain needs to adopt this. They need to practice this. Okay, now we have discussed about this product development process. So what are the steps involved in product development process? Can you just type what are the steps? What could be the first step? What could be the second step? Can anyone just type in the chat box? Design, Ravindra Reddy says develop, inspection, concept, sorry, inceptions, develop, manufacture. So a lot of steps are involved. But there should be a logic, there should be a sequence in it, correct? Prototyping, correct? Production, testing. So we keep on putting our own terminologies, but the whole purpose of 9145 is to standardize it, to harmonize it, correct? So they introduce some new terminologies. The terminologies can be used by all primes, so that will reach you through a contract. So you can use that same terminology. There is no crime, you can have your own terminology, but the purpose of 9145 is to have a harmonized common nomenclatures. So this diagram, have you seen this diagram before? Anyone have seen this picture? The same aspects. So this picture is even IAQG using this picture in their training materials. It's technically it's their picture. So I'll put this way. So from market, so we are going to collect the requirements from the market. Then we are going to design it, right? Then we make it. Parallelly, we have to buy this product, whatever we have designed. So whatever the product we make, that has to be delivered. After delivery, there should be some post-delivery activities. Now tell me, where exactly APQP come into this picture? Where exactly APQP fits here? Logesh Rao says operations, Prabhakaran says market and sell. Mr. Sanders says after PO. Everywhere, right? Look at this bottom one, plan and manage. Yes, Mr. Ravindra, you are correct. Entire process. Look at this bottom, there is one big line, right? Plan and manage. That's what advanced product quality planning. Entire life cycle. That's what we say product development process. From the concept to cash, which means the disposal. Okay, so I think you might have familiar about these class numbers, correct? If your organization is certified to AS9100, I think most of you might aware about this operational class. 8.1 to 8.7, that we call it as operation. So 8.1, so I will try to match this with that previous diagram. So 8.1, most of the time we misinterpret that it is production planning. No, it is not production planning. It is the operational planning and control. The entire operation, right? The entire contract, the entire project, how we are going to plan, how we are going to control. That's what 8.1 is. 8.2 market and sell, what we have seen in the previous diagram. 8.3 is design. 8.4 is buy it. 8.5 is make. 8.6 is check and release. And 8.7 in case of any issues, feedback, complaints, handle it, the non-conforming output. Now, can we match this with APQP PPAP? Now tell me which clause APQP fits here. If you might have familiar, and otherwise don't worry, these numbers are just taken from AS9100 standard. Where exactly APQP fits here? So from 8.1 to 8.7, the complete stage, the entire operation class. Correct? So that's what I would like to interpret here. Okay. So this 9145 gives a structured framework to plan and complete the entire actions of the product realization cycle. That's what we call as operational planning and control. The ultimate purpose is we have to deliver safe, reliable, quality products with that specified cost. That's very critical here. Cost is always very important. If you want high reliable, high safe, high quality product, obviously the cost also should be meet, right? So that's what the context behind this entire APQP. Whereas PPAP, I have already mentioned PPAP is not a process, it's an output of APQP. You need to prove that your production process has potential to produce the product which fulfills the entire customer requirement. When I say customer requirement, it is not just meeting the engineering requirement. You have to prove that the product is delivered the same cost. There are 4 critical success drivers which is given by 9145 itself. This is very critical. If you want to prove that your APQP process is success, we need to understand all these success drivers. The very first one is management commitment, top management commitment. Then we have discussed about cross-functional team, correct? So there should be a strong, a committed, integrated cross-functional team. Then efficient project management. Some people get confusion. APQP is the project management. No, it is not. The project management is, for example, you are going to run an APQP for a system or a subsystem or even a component. The project is the entire aircraft is a project, right? So we should have an efficient project management. Then defined deliverables and outputs. So here, look at the 4th success drivers. Defined deliverables and outputs for each phase. So here your 9145 helps you. It clearly tells you what are the phases. There are 5 phases in APQP. So each phase, what are the deliverables? What are the output which is clearly defined by this standard? So this is what we could say, a strong CFT, and an early engagement and a specified goals. This will gives you the success. So we already discussed about this. The industry is different from other industry, considering this low volume, long lead time, lifetime of the product, and the regulatory, right? So this will directly impact your quality, lead time, and costs. So these are the 3 pillars we could say. This is also APQP principle. 9145 says these are the basic principles. So when you adopt APQP process in your organization, we need to consider this. The very first principle is organizational commitment and the management support, top management commitment. So whatever the information is generated during this APQP process, your top management needs to track this. And what are the risks involved in this? That should be known to your top management. Very important here, what I want to communicate here is the top management has to ensure the middle level managers, even the top management are engaged and trained in APQP process. That is very important. In your organization, whether your top managements are trained for this APQP, If APQP is your customer requirement, we have to prove that you have to ensure that your top level, middle level managers are involved in this process and also trained on this process. That's one of the success mantra of this entire APQP. And their commitment is needed from the launch to the closure, not just the initiation stage. In kickoff meeting, we'll invite top management, and project reviews rarely will put CC, and end of the projects will say the project is closed. That is not a good way of demonstrating top management commitment. Management needs to lead these review meetings. They have to involve. They have to remove the bottlenecks. That's what the principle, the standard is expecting from us. So make sure your top management is involved in ongoing reviews, because the time, cost, regulatory compliance, so these are all directly going to affect your business, right? So that's one of the success factor here. Then the second pillar is CFT. Now, here I would like to ask one more question. Now tell me, we all know this, who are all be part of CFT? Can you name some department? No, I don't want this team in CFT, or I don't want this process in my CFT. Can you name any such process? Mr. Venkatesh says HR. Few people says HR. I'm not go by the designation. I'm talking about process. Which process you can avoid? See, the correct answer is you cannot avoid anyone. It depends on the complexity of the project, right? So you decide, but make sure CFT team is enough competent. That's very critical here. Every individual CFT member, what is the roles? What is the responsibility? Their ultimate role is they have to ensure timely completion and achieving the project goal. Correct? I think most of you will be part of CFT, correct? I could assume that 90% of the participants are part of CFT who were attending this program. Right. Now my question to you is whether roles and responsibility for you in CFT, is it clearly defined? Is it clearly communicated to you? Have you read it? Have you understood what is your importance in CFT? So these are the questions we need to ask ourselves, because this is the basic principle. No auditors or even no consultants can educate you on this front. It's your organization process. So you have to clearly understood what level of team I need to establish. What is the competency needed for the team? You can involve subject matter experts. In CFT, you can involve sometimes your suppliers, even customers, even regulators, right? CFT is not always within the organization. Then the last one more principle is effective project planning. Already someone asked the question, what is project management? Project management is like, for example, you're going to build a new aircraft, electric plane. That's a whole project, right? So this electric plane has a lot of systems, engine systems, fuel systems, structures. So it has a lot of subsystems. The subsystem has components. So as an organization, you may deal with sometime components, some organizations deals with subsystem, rarely people do with systems. So it depends on the size, volume. You need to interpret the word project management. If you remember in the earlier version of AS9100, we use the term project management. There is a separate class, correct? But if you look at the new version AS9100, we don't have that particular term in the requirement. Maybe note they have given it. Right? But what we are expecting here is APQP is a process. This process APQP can be used in the project management. right? So I don't want to waste my time here on project management. Let's move more focus on this. But one of the success factor, one of the basic principle of 9145 is you should have an effective project planning mechanism. Based on the customer needs, you establish your project plan. Identify what are the key target dates, what are the deliverables, how you flow down those requirements within your organization. That's very critical. Most of the time the timelines are lies with marketing or NPD team. How you are going to flow down this to production, quality, especially suppliers, that is very critical here, right? So have a proper communication matrix. We could also say this AS9145 is not just a risk management or proactive management. It's also, we call it as knowledge management. How we are going to manage the knowledge with respect to this particular new product development, right? So considering this context, we need to approach this APQP. So this is the typical model. What is there in 9145? It has a process. The process has input, is an output, correct? So this process has 5 phases. And there are a lot of elements given in the standard. There were 46 elements given in the standard and a lot of deliverables. When we go through this, most of you might have already practicing it, but the standard help you do it in a structured way, systematic way. So these are the 5 phases of 9145. Planning is the first phase. Product design and development, that is second phase. Process design and development, that is third phase. Product and process validation, that is phase 4. Then ongoing production, use and post delivery services, this is phase 5. So these are the 5 phases of 9145. This is similar to the approach of automotive industry, but they have adapted. There is a base standard, but they have here and there they have modified it. So this is the overall picture how we could interrelate the product development process and APQP. So if you look at this, the product development process has a lot of steps like kick off the product development activity, freeze the concept, we call it as a PDR, right? Then release the design for proto. Then you do critical design reviews there. They do an initial production approval. Then finally launch the product for regular production. So this is what the matrix. If you look at this product status, that will give you the broad picture. If you look at this phase 2 to phase 4, so you do prototypes, you do production trials. So before it goes to regular production, you have to be very clear. The concept is freezed, the design are freezed, all the requirements are captured, and it has reaches the manufacturing organization or the production houses. Now my question here is, all the phases is applicable to all. There are 5 phases we have discussed here: planning, product design and development, process design and development, product and process validation, ongoing production, use and post delivery services. Now all these 5 phases applicable to every organization? Okay, I'll give an example. I am a contract manufacturer. I don't involve in design. My customer gives all the design. Now tell me, for me, all these 5 phases are applicable. Correct. Okay, I'll give one more example. I'm a design house. I'm only design. I'm not involving in manufacturing. Then again, all the 5 phases are applicable. See, it depends on what is your role. What is your role in this particular product development process? Right? So you may say phase 2 is not applicable. I am just a contract manufacturer. I'm not doing product design and development. I do only process design and development. You can claim that. So before establishing APQP process in your organization, you clearly understand what is your role, what is your customer requirement. That's always critical. Why industry is suddenly demanding this? There are a lot of reasons behind that. But one thing we should understand, the primary objective of 9145 is to improve quality and reduce cost. But these two terms are always having a difficult combo, correct? Is it possible to achieve high quality and also possible to reduce the cost? Is that possible? But 9145 gives you a methodology with better planning, with better APQP. Products can reach its maturity faster with little minimal disruption to your engineering requirements, or even you can reduce the defects at the early stage of production. So with that long-term journey, we can able to achieve this. So this is what the overall purpose of this. So we can reduce the engineering changes, right? Now, these are the companies already started mandated APQP PPAP from their suppliers. If you are delivering any part to this organization, you might have already got this requirement. Clear?